Hey folks, welcome to Creative Ops, a podcast for creative people by creative people. This episode was our first remote. So I took my laptop, a couple microphones, just a bare bones bag of equipment, and I drove up to my guest, who is Ross from Fresh Coast Seed Co. They grow medical marijuana and they sell seeds. We did the interview in their main grow room, and because it was just me and it was my first time doing it, we had some technical issues early on. So you'll hear some clicking and some stuff like that. We get it sorted out pretty early on, and then from there the conversation's really interesting. We get into the science, but I ask him to dumb it down for me and for people who might not know that much about the cannabis game. We also, find out that it's not like there's a perception of people that grow cannabis must be bad people that are inherently into doing illicit and illegal things, and that's not the case. These guys are, first of all, dealing with patients. They're actually building their business around caring for people who have different conditions, ranging from anywhere from mild to severe, I guess you could say. They're in this for compassion, and that comes through when you get to know Ross, who's an old friend of mine. We've known each other about 20 years. He's a hard-working guy, real good heart. You hear some of the work ethic in some of his stories about working on a Alaskan fishing boat. He's been here, been there, done a lot of interesting things, but when it came to cannabis, he really found his passion and ran with it. And now Fresh Coast Seed Co. has won a gold cup from the the Cannabis Cup. They won a gold cup for their vape pen. They've been doing a whole lot of collaborations with other folks, and they've been featured in High Times social media. Speaking of social media, their own social media is pretty impressive. They've got a few thousand, I think it was something like 17,000 subscribers last time I checked. So the word is out. These guys are on point. They're doing it the right way, and they're doing it for the right reasons. I think you'll enjoy this interview with Ross from Fresh Coast Seed Co. Check them out. They're on Instagram, posting regularly. They've got a website. All the links will be in the show notes. And I hope you enjoyed this one, because I enjoyed doing it. And I hope to have him on the show again. But until then, enjoy this interview with Ross from Fresh Coast Seed Co. I'm here with Ross from Fresh Coast Seed Co.
Yeah, what's up, everybody?
The best in the business. Speaking of the business, tell them what business you're in, Ross.
Currently, we are breeding cannabis plants for the world. Anywhere from CBD plants to really high-end THC plants. Pretty much the goal is to try and suit everybody's needs at this point.
So the plants that you've got are you just doing medicinal marijuana, or like it seems like there's a lot of things going on under the Fresh Coast banner? Can you kind of elaborate on what some of the different things are?
We rolled out a project a few years ago with Light Sky Farms, who was real heavy on medicinal plants. He's won multiple cups with certain plants. Those particular plants have saved several lives from cancer and whatnot. So we wanted to try a project where we were getting good 1-to-1s, 2-to-1s. So we hit that the moose cookie plant in particular, which is 9% THC, 9% CBD. And hit it to a gorilla butter dad, and the clones that we're working with now are 8% THC and 14% CBD. So we're gonna, we're starting a nursery and whatnot, and I'm really excited to be able to get these plants out to the public. I hear all the time from people, oh, my uncle or my aunt or my grandma or my dad or my mom, they really need a CBD plant, and they're new growers. So we want to offer this to the general public, at an affordable price, because we really care about people and people's health and whatnot. So I'm excited about that project. I'm probably going to actually make a second generation, so that people who do want to pop the seeds, they have that option also. But yeah, I work real close with Light Sky Farms, and he's always, he's an innovator. He's always pushing the envelope one way or another, and it's been really exciting. But the current projects are mainly focused on old school genetics, Death Star, Sensi Star, and then incorporated in that some of the newer stuff that is not actually really like categorized as an indica or a sativa or ruderalis or indica. It's just this freak line. It's a mutant line, and I'm excited to be working with Cannabis Potency Research on that stuff. And so this is really the year to bring all those different projects together. And those of you who follow me on Instagram, this will be my last production run, and I'm just going to completely focus on these projects and get this stuff out properly instead of it taking so long.
All right. So I've heard you talk on was it Instagram Live or was it a Facebook video?
I'm sorry, what?
That video that you were just on not that long ago, that was on Instagram Live or was that on a Facebook originally?
Yeah, that was Instagram Live with Grow Green.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah.
And the whole time I was listening to that, I was like, oh man, I got to ask this guy some questions when I get a hold of him, because you guys both know what you're talking about. And I was listening to things like, I heard the word terpenes and I was like, okay, well, I'm out. Like it all sounds good. So I kind of want to break down for people who don't know about medical marijuana or just marijuana in general, kind of like what it is that that you guys do, what it is that people can do with it besides just sitting around and getting high. Establish that you guys, you're not just, it's not like people who grow marijuana are drug dealers. The people that, like you said, are trying to help people and are helping people.
Right.
But I also want to get to know a little bit more about like you, so we can kind of figure out like what your trajectory into this business and this line of work was in the first place.
Well, I'm glad. First, I want to touch on the terpenes. That's one thing that I'm also working with a brewer here in town. So we can actually pull the terpenes out of the plant. So a terpene is a hydrocarbon. It's what makes the plant smell and taste the way it does. Same thing, like, there's a blueberry terpene, there's a limeone, terpene. Everything that smells or tastes has its own terpene profile. What you can actually do with this plant is you can pull these terpenes out and leave all the cannabinoids behind. So now we can do like projects where, we do like a Gorilla Puff lemon summer shandy. So we take the terpenes from the citrus part of the plant and we isolate it, and then we put it in beer. And so now you have like a cannabis infused beer with no cannabinoids in it, so it's not going to get you high. So the everyday, beer drinker or whatever can enjoy that. And a lot of these plants offer so many unique terpene profiles. Like it's a really good way to incorporate it into everyday life.
Is there any, like from a medicinal perspective, like is that a way to get CBD or any of the like medicinal stuff, or is that kind of more just like, hey, this is beer that has marijuana in it and kind of has that taste profile solely?
Yep, totally. So, Sweetwater Brewing Company started with it. But yeah, I mean, you can't sell it to the public if there's cannabinoids in it.
Right.
So this is a good way for people to experience the cannabis plant, with beer and not get high and, just it's a different aspect of it,
Yeah.
This plant isn't always going to get you high or, alter your your current reality. You can enjoy it in other ways also.
Right. Yeah. Even down to the level that I've seen dispensaries that have online delivery, and they'll have like dog treat sections of CBD treats. And I've talked to one person that had a dog that, like, anytime anybody came in the house, the dog would run behind the couch and just, like, kind of whimper. And they started giving it CBD treats, and now it just kind of, like, lays on the floor and kind of is like, yeah, whatever.
Yep, absolutely, And we see it in animals all the time. I have a relationship with one particular animal, and, before he goes and gets haircuts or does anything, we make sure we give him CBD.
Yeah. And
the haircut lady has said to us, well, I've noticed a huge difference. Like, he's way more relaxed. He's not anxiety-filled and, like, freaking out, And it does the same thing for human beings too, you know. So it's good to see the hemp market where it's at. It's a good way for everybody to, you know, we were born with cannabinoid receptors in all throughout our body, and most of them are in our liver. So it's really important for us to be ingesting this plant. Our ancestors did. That's probably how they were way healthier than we are. And you know, it's awesome where the plant has taken itself. You know, we're still Schedule 1 felony charge, you know, but the plant has just pilgrims through all of that. I mean,
it's either legal or it's illegal depending on which cop pulls you over.
Right, totally. But it's just cool to see where the plant's taken itself. I mean, it's always been here. It's always been a thing. That's why it's always been propaganda behind it, because it's a very important plant and it's so unique. There's no way to really regulate it, and they know that. So, you know, but it's cool to see that how many people have been helped because of it. You know, physically. You know, people being able to help their families and monetarily. You know, and it's also teaches people, like, it's taught me such dedication and hard work. You know what it actually means to really care for something, you know, and those are all invaluable, you know.
Yeah, and well, I mean, on a personal level, I'm perfectly fine with recreational marijuana, medical marijuana, whatever. But like, I didn't really realize until more recently, when it became more mainstream, how medicinal it really is. Like, I've given it to my dad before for his arthritis on his hands, and he's like, "Yeah, it's the first time I can make a full fist is, you know, in a couple of years."
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's not, you know, for anybody with that perception, like, oh, well, you know, marijuana, that's those guys that are skipping school and getting in fights and listening to jazz music.
And we did do all those things.
Well, yeah, I mean, we did, but there's,
you know,
there's
we're not going to deny
people.
that. But, you know, we're really, I mean, most of our community, we're some of the realest people around, I think. You know.
I can't disagree.
Yeah. This blunt is getting me so high.
We met when we were probably like, I don't know, just out of high school, right?
No.
In high school.
It was in high school.
That's right.
Yeah, we met in like 8th grade because of Nate.
That's right. We met through Nate.
Yep. And I think it was actually like a Wednesday night church group where we were chasing girls or something like that. I'm pretty sure how that went down.
I don't know. I can't speak to all church groups, but I know that one, there was a lot of hormones.
Oh, yeah, they were raging at that particular
that
Wednesday
group
night.
Was like half youth group, half hookup spot.
Yeah, but no, yeah, we've known each other. I mean, we're old now, man. I mean, not old, but you know, I mean, I guess we're in our prime.
We're in our prime.
You know, I'm 37. How old are you? 37.
Just recently, yeah.
Yeah, yep. So we've known each other for a long time, man.
Yeah. Probably 20 years or close to.
I mean, yeah. Totally.
And in that time, we've gone from, I guess you could say, casual fans of cannabis to, I guess I have more of a, I wouldn't call myself a snob, but I know more about it than I guess most people do just from having kind of a history with it.
Yeah.
But then you took it straight into like, dude, I love this on a personal level. I love what it can do for people. I'm going to go into business doing this. When did you first get that inkling that I was like, you know what, there's money to be made here that's not necessarily like illegal black market money?
Yep. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I've been growing for 12 years now. But it actually, the whole Fresh Coast Seed Company thing started, actually when I lived on Rennie Lake. And it was just like really early in the morning. The lake was like had ice on it. The sun was coming up, and I was just thinking about how I was really burned out on just growing 8 different strains, and this was going to be my life, you know. And it just seemed like there was so much more. And you know, I'm a spiritual person, so like I was just, you know, kind of meditating, listening, and what I call the universe just gave me kind of a vision and a plan. And I've just been walking that path ever since, and that was, you know, 5 years ago. And everybody called me crazy. And there's no way I can pull that off. But it's not about me, you know. It's about the plant. It's about the plant. And for whatever reason, the energies that be, you know, saw me fit to be a shepherd. And I feel like no matter what, as long as I'm following the rules, like I'll be safe and everything will be good, you know. And until the federal government figures out their situation, I mean, it's always a risk,
Right.
You know, it's always a risk. But you know, this will be my last flower production, so I won't be selling weed anymore. It's just going to be a nursery, seeds, souvenirs, technically, you know.
Okay.
and that's where I see my life going.
And to kind of bridge a little bit of the then to now again, you guys were selling like basically like wholesale to a dispensary who would then sell it to somebody else.
Yep, correct.
But now I don't know a lot about it, just kind of what I hear, you know, second, third hand sometimes. There's kind of an effort to not allow locals to...
So the people who actually built all of this, which were the black market people doing it underground, you know, when it was super, super illegal, and then into the caregiver system, and now, I'm a caregiver myself, and, you know, as of September 31st, technically, we're not allowed to sell our cannabis to the stores anymore, even though we pay our fees, you know, and we have our situation. Now we're being cut off, and now they've just passed a law where the townships can say whether you can grow or not, and, you know, it just feels really weird.
Yeah, that... Well, I don't know. I hope that, you know, if all the changes do go through in that regard, that people kind of backlash against it in the same way that, like, right now, people aren't, like, calling their friends being like, hey, man, let's go down and get pick whatever major beer at a bar. Like, hey, let's go to Shorts and get some local beer. Like, that's the thing now. Is like restaurants are going local. Breweries are going local. There's whiskey places that are like, we use the city water to make our whiskey, you know, like that are going real local, but it seems like it's kind of like the trend professionally is going the opposite direction with regards to marijuana.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, now it's like corporate cannabis, and I personally have, since day one, everybody's been like, oh, make it legal, make it legal. I've been one of those people that's like, no, don't make it legal, because now it's completely corporate. And, you know, now we have these people who have been lobbying against cannabis, who now own cannabis facilities, and are lobbying to that the caregivers are undercutting them. Well, if you're telling me like 72 plants threatens some big corporation, like that's kind of weak, you know? And I don't agree with the whole thing. I feel like it's disrespectful to the plant. I feel like it's disrespectful to the people. And it can be done, you know, like the craft side of it is, you know, like you said, with the beer and the whiskey and different places where it's all craft. You know, there's a certain love that goes into that makes it different. It makes you, you know, you have a connection. You can build a relationship with it, as opposed to...
There's a pride with a local stamp.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And as opposed to just like, oh, I know that this was, you know, mass produced, and they can't like actually touch every plant, be with every plant, and like, you know, you lose the craft side of it, and you feel that energy when you smoke that cannabis or you eat that cannabis. It's different, you know. Like you've had plenty of my stuff compared to other people's stuff, and it's a total huge difference.
Well, I ended up getting one time from a dispensary a cart that ended up being one of the bootlegs that was just straight filler, and there was nothing in it.
Yeah,
like, I tried it. Somebody else tried it. Somebody else tried it, and they're like, yeah, no, this is probably one of those bootlegs. I was like, what? And that's like a whole underground thing, too, is people selling stuff that looks like, you know, something that like Snoop Dogg would put on...
Vape Gate.
Yeah. It's a bizarre world, and it's not really helping people who are doing things like honestly and legitimately either, because it just kind of all gets tied into like, well, that's part of that culture, you know?
It makes it harder for us, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's like you have to tell people, oh, these cartridges have 1 cannabis cups. You know what I mean? And they still don't believe you because there's so much trash out there, and it's just sad. Like,
yeah, well, I've seen people try to come at you guys on your social media like, oh, your thing is just somebody else's thing, and you're like, actually, that guy bought those seeds from me, so have a nice day.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
So now that the growing game is going to be... Well, I mean, it's still, I guess, is it still essentially growing what you're going to be doing or is it like getting grown plants and then tending those, and like how does that work?
So now I'm going to completely switch over. So I'll still be growing flowers, but just from seed. So I want to find new genetics, I want to find males to breed with these females. I want to do specific things, cross specific things, and now I'll have the space and time to do that.
Science question for you.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if any of the people that have been listening to me are big on the science stuff. Male, females, plants have the same kind of, I guess, sexual genetics that humans do in that regard. So keeping males and females together or separate at certain times, like how does that all work?
No, it's a tricky game. So like if I just have a nursery with vegetative plants, I can have a room full of males and not worry so much about having a seed issue. Now if that vegetative garden was a flower garden, those are female plants, and pollen travels and it will get anywhere and everywhere. And all it takes is a little bit, and now all of a sudden you have a seeded garden out. Well, if you didn't mean to do it on purpose, then that kind of sucks, So you have to really be careful, and your timing has to be impeccable. If you are working with a veg room and with males when you're trying to breed, and a flower garden all in one place, you got to really be on top of it.
So do you guys sell seeds?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so if somebody bought seeds from you guys, is there like a place that you would recommend somebody start? Like, hey, before you grow these, like, there are some things you should know. This website's really good, or there's like a book you can get for $2 online that's really good.
Yeah, I always guide everybody to True Living Organics book by the Rev. It's real simple. It's really user friendly. It produces good, clean, organic cannabis, and it's a great start. It gets your mind working. It's very simple, and so that's where I usually guide people to that are just coming off. Now, as far as like what those in particular seeds will do, because they're all so different, they can go to the beanlodge.com, and one of us, Fresh Coast Smitty or myself, will respond, or you can go to the Fresh Coast Seed Company feed on Instagram and direct message me, and I will, I can walk you through any of the crosses and their tendencies and different phenotypes, and whether it's good outdoors, indoors, in tents, in a big room, like, what I've got all the terpene profiles covered, so just feel free to hit us up. This is what we're here for.
Yeah, so we'll get all the links up too in the description. So will the seed game change at all for you guys, or will that always be a thing?
Yeah, it's getting way more competitive rapidly. Yeah. So I personally am starting to feel the pressure of falling behind almost.
Yeah.
So, but we'll always be doing this. We've established ourselves, and we're not. This is what we're gonna do. So I don't know how big or how small. I don't know that yet, but I would imagine by the way things look and where things are going that I hope to be able to provide to the whole U.S. like on a big scale.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, that'd be awesome, man. Because, obviously your stuff has been deemed of pretty decent caliber because you guys did win. Excuse me. You guys did win gold medal for vape pen.
Yeah, Gorilla Butter F1.
Yeah, for vape pen, so and that was at the 2019 Cannabis Cup.
Yep, and that was a collab with Light Sky Farms.
Yeah, and that dude, he's got some hardware too, right?
Oh, he has so much hardware. I think he has 13 first place trophies, like 20 or 30 second places, 20 or 30 third places, and then all this other stuff from like Secret Cups and World Cups. He actually got second place for best CBD pen in the whole world. So he had to get this, get the product to California, and then they take it to Jamaica because that's where they do the World Cup at.
Oh, dang.
And he took second place in that. So the guy's just a ninja, you know. I mean, he's a world-renowned winemaker, world-renowned chef. Like, he's just that kind of dude, yeah.
Wow. So just kind of like anything he touches turns to gold, huh?
Yeah, literally.
Well, that's pretty cool. How'd you guys end up hooking up with the collaborations you've been doing?
Oh, well, it's a pretty funny story. The building we're in right now was the first place I met him.
Yeah.
I came here and I was so nervous. So I was new to Instagram, and like I saw his account and like saw what he did, and I was like, well, I'll just reach out and see what he says. Like, hey, can I bring you some trim? And he's like, yep, looked at your page, let's do it. So like then I came here and we met, and I was so nervous. You know what I mean? I'd never been around a legend like this, and this is when I just started like having like Fresh Coast Seed Company just started, you know. So
right.
it was a whole new world, right?
Yeah.
And over the years, man, we've just become really, really good friends. You know, first and foremost. I mean, you know, we're best buds now, and it's rare to find people in this world that like have the motivation and the creativity and actually follow through with it. And he's just an amazing dude, man. I've watched this guy give away so many meds to people that need it, for free. You know, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 worth of oil for people. You know, because he really cares about them. And
that's awesome. And I'll toot your horn a little bit too. I've seen you give people with medical conditions that would, you know, you could classify anywhere from mild to severe, giving them things that have helped them out a lot. You know, kind of I was like, oh, I know a guy that might be able to help you with that. And they're like, yeah, anything. And they're like, yeah, that was awesome. Thank you. So you're doing a lot of good in the world too. It's not all about profit and that either.
No, and you know what? That's the other cool thing with the seeds is like it's the gift that keeps on giving. So, you know, I'm able, because I don't have a lot of capital, you know what I mean? I'm just people think that we're an actual company, but it's, you know, it's not like that. We're very small, and
you guys do market well, though. Like, I mean, you've got the gear, you've got a really nice logo, you got the website. You guys have attracted some attention from High Times, and you guys won the Cannabis Cup. So, like, I know you've talked to me before personally about, like, you can have good weed, but you also have to, like, let people know that you've got it. And I think the same goes for any kind of business or creative venture. Like, be good at what you do, but then also, like, promote it, too.
Right. Totally.
So, like, I want to get into that a little bit, and then I want to talk about, like, actual, like, since the show's creative ops, like, where the creativity of, like, how you do this and that with genetics and that kind of stuff comes in. But let's just go straight into the creativity part, because I'm more interested in that at the moment. When you create, you know, air quote, create something, it's not like you put on your goggles, go into a lab, and do some weird thing with a bunch of chemicals. Like it's it's a natural style thing, right?
Yes, absolutely. And that's why I'm really drawn to the breeding side of it. I still have so much to learn, but everything that I do is based on feel and having a relationship with what I'm working with. And the creativity is awesome because every single plant's so different. And like looking into their lineages, where they come from, and how they might match, you know, it's not just about like, oh, I'm gonna cross this with that and this and that, you know, like. If you're going after an orange terpene, you know, you're looking for a dad and a mom
and so that terpene is that flavor taste profile.
Elevates it and makes it even, you know, more rich and more full. And like maybe you have a plant that just absolutely reeks, but it has no bag appeal, and you don't like the structure. You know, you basically want to breed the terpene profile out into something else. You know,
and
like,
in layman's terms, what's the method by which, like, you say, I like this trait, so I want to take that, but nothing else?
Right. So you want to find more of a dominant dad.
Okay.
Right. Structure-wise, anyways, something that maybe doesn't have like a super heavy terpene profile, because you don't want to mask what you're trying to get.
Right.
Right. So, like, that's where all the creative stuff goes in. And then, you know, once you do the project, and, you know, it takes so long because it takes a year and a half like to do it right, where you pop a ton of seeds, you hunt your males, you flower them out, and then you pick one or two.
And you use the healthiest methods too. Like I know that's a big thing with you, and like Six Coast Soil is a thing you're involved with too.
Yeah, we run a clean ship. Everything we do is completely organic. Six Coast Soil is just really easy to work with. Doesn't take a whole lot. Water, CalMag, attention to the plant, and you're good to go. And it's a good clean environment. We just passed all our metric tests, which is really hard to do. A lot of caregivers fail the metric tests. We actually had some of the best test results that the state has seen thus far through this whole entire journey of facilities and all this stuff. So we were pretty proud of that, and we did that in a giant no-till setup, just in a commercial building. It's nothing fancy. We keep it clean, keep it righteous. But I love being able to work with plants and the patience that it teaches you, and really paying attention to every different little detail, or at least that's where I'm at. Like most people would be like, why are you getting rid of that plant?
Yeah.
But there's just like there's another level that I guess we're on with each other, where they almost tell me what needs to happen next.
Right.
I'm just here to make sure the bills get paid and they're taken care of, and they kind of do what they tell me to do.
Sure.
So it's pretty cool. We got some sweet stuff coming this year. Do you remember the old pre-2001 Sensi Star? The shit that would like stink up like 3 city blocks. Oh yeah, baby, we got it coming. That and Death Star, which is actually the original. It's not actually called Death Star. It's called Power Animal, but then it got named Death Star. But I got these seeds from the dude who made them. Old school, like, I don't know, he's probably got to be 70 now. He's an old Canna Mafia guy who used to travel the world and smuggle seeds through Amsterdam, and then they made most of the strains that we work with. There was like 12 or 13 of them. And
he's one of the cowboys that's responsible for a lot of the stuff that's floating around now?
Yeah, you should see this guy's seed stock. It's just absolutely insane. So I'm starting to go back to those roots, because I feel like the breeding pool has just gotten out of hand. It's just too many hybrids on hybrids, and like there's, like when you pop these older seeds, you see right away how they haven't been tampered with that much, because the phenotypes are so close to one another. There's only maybe 1 to 4 different plants that you're going to look at from 2 parents, and like that's pretty awesome, and that's how you isolate things. And so I want to bring that back and try and stabilize some of the things that I've already done, which were, originally bred with a mutant strain. So there's that instability that's in there, and I knew that, but I got the frost and the potency out of it and made myself a platform. And then this year is going to be really cool. Bringing it back to the old school stuff. Pretty excited about it, actually.
That's awesome. And I think part of the thing that's important, like in anybody's creative process, like I like to write. I got a book that I'm trying to get out there eventually, but with regards to like trying to get out a quality product, the same thing applies to writing. Like sometimes you have to look at some stuff and just go, nope, it's not good enough. It's okay, but it's got to either be, something's got to change, or it's just got to go. And so I don't know, I think there's a lot of parallels and a lot of lessons to be learned from that. Like quality isn't necessarily like, you don't just wake up one morning and shit quality. Like you have to filter through and go like, well, this worked, this didn't, I'll try this again, or I'll get rid of this and maybe try these with that next time. Or
yeah, I mean, it took me like 5 or 6 years just to have, what was it? LA Chocolate, Lemon Puff, the Afghan Kush, and there was just a couple others, like the Goji OG, the White Lotus. And that was pretty much all I had, you know what I mean? And it was all super, super good, stable stuff.
One other thing that I think is important, especially...
But it took a long time, It took a long time to get those particular females.
Oh,
like
yeah,
you
yeah,
said,
yeah.
I didn't just roll out of bed. Like, that was like me buying seeds at 4 o'clock in the morning because I'm doing all this research on all their lineages and, like, checking on, like, the reputation of the breeder and, like, you know, a lot of information. And lots of lost thousands of dollars just to get 8 plants,
Right?
you know,
right.
and it was a lot of hard work just to get those. And
Research and investment.
You don't just
for sure.
pop seeds and go, oh yeah, that, you know, there's 28 different strains out here, and I don't know if I'll keep any of them. You know, I mean, you have to really, you know, the bar is set pretty high at this point. So,
well. I mean, you come from an interesting background as far as work goes. You've done a lot of different things that I think probably kind of have helped you, like, in terms of building a work ethic, having a vision, and, like, establishing goals, but, like, you've paired it up with something that you're passionate about. First job out of high school, or, like, first job while you were in high school, maybe, I don't know. What was it?
My first job was Cappuccino Cafe, being the bus boy and making the caramel milk and the mocha milk.
Is I don't even know if they've got cappuccino cafes.
By the way, I drank a lot of that caramel milk.
Yeah, I would too.
But yeah, I mean, and then, you know, my family owned Cupid's in downtown Lansing, so, and also on the south side, and so I worked there a lot. I mowed lawns since I was like 12 years old. I bought my own car the day I turned 16. Tried to drive it out of the Toyota parking lot. It was stick shift, and it took me like 50 minutes to get home, and it was like a 5-minute drive because I just kept stalling. I was like hanging out at this one particular red light for 3 rounds at least. But yeah, no, I'm no stranger to hard work. Alaska was probably really the thing
yes,
that changed me as a human being, because I remember calling my mom, and after the first month.
After the first month of what? Because people don't know. Alaska,
okay,
you were doing what?
Yeah, so I worked on the biggest fisher processor in the world, which is the Ocean Phoenix for Alaskan pollock.
You're like what, 20,
which
21?
is like the second biggest biomass in the world next to algae, right? So it's like pretty much feeds the world. It's what all the McDonald's fish is, like all this stuff. And then the fake crab meat is also pollock. So we would do that right on the boat. So different times of the year, you know, in the winter, which was the roughest, obviously. It was negative 40 degrees, you know, 40-mile-an-hour winds, 20-foot waves.
Well, that mean like deadliest catch, it was like that same area,
yeah,
right?
we fished right next to those guys.
Yeah.
Yep. So like when the hurricane.
Different.
Yeah.
Well, they did different fish though, right?
Yeah, they did crabs.
Yeah, that's right. The crabs.
And then there's like cod fishermen and everything, but we're all out there together. But there's only certain zones you can actually fish, right? So like, because they protect, you know,
all the environmental.
Yeah,
stuff.
there's like a 600 or 700 square mile school of pollock that you're not allowed anywhere near, right?
Yeah.
So you can only pick them off in certain parts
and
of
rightly
the ocean,
so, right?
Which is crazy because like the Bering Sea is super shallow, and which is what makes it so violent, you know.
Yeah.
And when I watched Deadliest Catch before I went out there, I was like, no way, this is like they're making this up, you know. And like, no, I have seen and been a part of a 60-foot wave hitting our boat, and seeing grown men in their survival suits grabbing onto tables and everything else, screaming for their mom and shit. Like, and I was a young cat, so I was like, "Bring it on!" You know? But
you're like doing your Lieutenant Dan. You can't sink this boat.
But looking back at it, I mean, we had to anchor behind some islands, and we were still getting railed with like 30-foot waves. But that was when I really saw all the Deadliest Catch boats, you know, Cornelia Marie, Time Bandit.
Like for real, like up close, like, hey guys.
Yeah, we were all anchored behind this island, St. Matthew's Island. And yeah, it was just a crazy experience, and that's where I really had to dig deep, you know, because I was the minority on the boat. And I was the littlest guy on the boat, and I had to really prove myself, you know. And I got hazed pretty bad, like fish guts in my stuff, like smashed computers, like you know, like no good. But I ended up taking second place in Rookie of the Year, which was I was super proud of that.
Nice.
And that's what really taught me. I did it for 3 years, and then I injured my back, and a lot of other shit. So,
Yeah.
and that's kind of what I started doing art after that, and then I started growing cannabis, and this is where I'm at.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, you've got the work ethic. I mean, because all the jobs that I can remember, like clearly you doing, was like you were a chef at a restaurant, or you were working outside like on lawns, or you were
when I worked
on
with
that
my
boat. It was like,
yeah.
It's not like sit around like talking to somebody, go clickety clack on the keyboard.
No.
And
like when I worked with my
work.
brother, we used to do all that awesome landscape construction.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever like saw any of the projects we did, but a lot of that stuff went into magazines and shit. We were doing like triple tiered, patios with lighting and waterfalls through them and shit, and like, doing like really awesome stuff from scratch,
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I guess I've got a lot of experience doing a lot of different things. But I love what we do now, You're never going to be a master of the plant. You can always learn every single day from it.
Right.
And that's what I love so much. It helps people. It helps me. And I don't know. I couldn't ask for much more. I'm super thankful for the vision and the opportunity to work with the plant and do interviews like this, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think watching you and the people that you work with, like JJ, he's the man.
Oh yeah.
You guys work hard, and like you go to bed tired sometimes, but you don't generally strike me as the kind of guys that are like, fuck, it's time to go to work again. You know what I mean?
No.
Like you're like, yeah, look what we're doing, man. This is really cool. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. There are some days when we're just like, oh man, I do not want to go do that right now. But
I'm sure.
But at the same time, like we really do.
Like, but that work ethic, combined with like it being something that you're passionate about, that's got to help like drive you to the point where like you guys have won significant hardware, and you guys have been featured in High Times on their social media a couple times, right?
Oh yeah.
And you guys have a sizable following on social media. Like
the first time
was
they reposted the Nutella shot, which is just a beautiful cross that we did, and it was under an LED, and it was awesome. And I remember I got so excited. I was like, holy shit, High Times just like reposted one of my plants. Like,
yeah, because I remember we used to read that when we were like 19 and be like, whoa, look at these plants. Whoa, who grows these?
Yeah, totally, man. Yeah, totally. And so to like to be a part of that legacy and that history and stuff, it's pretty cool, man. Like I've always been a super competitive dude. Like I've always played sports from the time I was a little child. I'm very competitive. You know me.
Oh, yeah.
I'm the most competitive they come. So.
If somebody says on a golf course or a disc golf course, that's where I've seen you, as those two places, hey, you want to put some money on this one? All of a sudden it's like lion stare, like, get out of my way. I got business to take care of.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So, yeah, I miss playing sports. Play a lot of golf still.
I was going to try to play golf the other day, because I was so happy that you can again. But when I got there, dude, like everybody in town and from the next town and some of their friends were there. I couldn't even get in the parking lot.
Well, it was so weird. Like the golf courses are taking it more serious than the restaurants and the bars. You can't even pull the pin out right now.
You can't even do what? Oh, you really?
Yeah.
Like, wait, so what are you supposed to do? They just not have pins in the holes? Or
No, they do. They have pins, but then it's like filled with like styrofoam. So, like, you just putt into it and then pull your ball out so people aren't grabbing the pin.
That's crazy. That's an interesting way to, like, combat that problem.
Well, it's kind of nice with the pin in,
Yeah.
It's way easier to putt, chip, whatnot.
I wonder if they'll stick with that. Like, people talk about all the stuff that's going on now. Like, one of the reasons why I really wanted to talk to you, especially now, is because we're using that soil for our home garden, and it's working great. But, like, a lot of people are changing things anyway. Like I know hospitals are changing the way that they operate and interact with people. And stores now all have the shields up, and like I guess golf courses I didn't know are like putting styrofoam in the holes. How much of this stuff do you think is going to keep going? Like once people are like, okay, like, you know, it's going to be rare for people, you know, once there's a vaccine or once this thing, I don't know, goes away from herd immunity or whatever. You think people are going to stick with the like hand washing and face shields and all that for a while?
I mean, I think a certain portion of people will, and I think a portion of people won't. I mean, it's just tough times right now. I mean, it's affecting everybody. And,
it is, and it's
and I know people get really impatient because our whole world up to this point was based on super fast. Like I can get information now. I can do anything all the time, anytime I want. And so then when that got taken away a little bit, like I feel like this is the breaking point, you know. So we'll see who's going to continue. Me personally, I am always looking out for people I don't know, and so I'm going to continue to wear a mask and gloves and have hand sanitizer with me and like do my part for society, whether it's right or wrong or whatever. I don't know, but I want to at least try and be safe.
That's the craziest thing is like, especially in the Grand Rapids area, like there's a pretty well split group of people that are like, that won't wear a mask in public and will look at you funny if you're wearing one.
Right.
Or vice versa. Like if you're not wearing, or if somebody's not wearing a mask, like you'll see people with masks looking at them like, you piece of garbage.
Yeah, it just feels really weird right now, you know? And I don't feel like any of the people that are abiding by the rules should feel weird about being safe. You know, we're just looking out for our families and ourselves, and you know, you don't know people's health conditions. You know, I'm young, but you know, I have lung problems and stuff, and you know, I have friends with diabetes and asthma, and you know, I just think it's bigger than, you know, the conspiracies and all this stuff. The reality is like people are dying at a rapid rate, and like, you know, people's bodies aren't used to it, and now people are getting it twice now. So it's just, I don't know. I would personally encourage people being safe and, you know, doing it proper. I mean,
I don't know. That stuff's all, I was just wondering about that because, you know, it's on everybody's mind, but it's all kind of played out too. Like, I'm almost ready to be done talking about it, and once it's all done, I kind of don't really want to hear about it until like years later. Like, hey, remember back in the day? Oh, yeah.
It just feels like we wasted the last 2.5 months.
I know.
You know?
I know,
to open it back up while everybody's still getting super sick all over the place.
Yeah,
and then
people are missing birthdays and graduations.
Populations come into places that aren't infected barely at all, like where we're at. And I don't know. It just seems like, why didn't we just do this at the beginning? Like, I hate to say it, but, you know, why didn't we just let everybody get sick? And then whoever makes it, makes it. You know? I don't know. Because there's no herd immunity.
Well,
and there's, you know.
I mean, I know what you're saying, but, like, then you'd be putting a lot of people at risk. I don't know. I'd be more.
Well, it's happening right now, though. You know, it's like
people are ignoring the things
inevitable,
anyway.
I guess is the way I look at it. I mean, it's just the whole thing is gross and it sucks, and like, I don't think there's any good solution to it other than.
Like, hope that scientists that are in charge of making sure that there's a response to it that's appropriate and that we can, you know, at least mitigate it or get rid of it entirely.
Yeah.
Then, yeah, I'm cool with being safe rather than sorry.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. You know.
I mean, I don't know about the people that are taking guns to the Capitol and doing all that. Like, the government shouldn't tell me what to do. Like, I mean, yeah, the government shouldn't tell you what to do to an extent, but like,
those people are
there's a line
they're
between
just protesting something else. It doesn't, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's their like golden hour or their opportunity to like,
it's,
you know,
well, like,
whatever. So.
Well, like anybody who leaves a shitty complaint like on a YouTube comment or something like that, like, it's not even about that usually. It's just, I don't know.
Well, so on other note, back to off of the COVID-19 thing.
Yeah.
Today is Memorial Day.
Yeah, happy Memorial Day. This won't drop for a few days after, but happy Memorial Day belatedly to everybody.
Absolutely. I'm gonna get out of here.
Yeah, man. Me too. I gotta drive, so maybe I'll stay and hang out for a minute and then then head home and try to get this thing put together.
Cool. Well, I appreciate you doing this, and
Yeah, man.
maybe we'll have to do it twice in case this one was really bad.
Or maybe we'll have to do it twice just because this one was so much fun.
Oh, there you go.
I want to see what's going on. Like, you guys got changes in the future, so we'll come back and we'll talk about that again sometime.
Yeah, because the whole thing is transitioning into, I'm trying to restructure and rebuild the whole thing, and I don't really know what I'm doing. So it'll be a fun, interesting ride.
Well, and that's, here's one thing that I wanted to it's a good spot to end on. With anything creative, professional, both, whatever, it seems like from a lot of the people that I've talked to in the past, the writers, Paul, who everybody kind of talks about, like, within the thing that they're passionate about, there's a community, and that community is very supportive. And that just seems like anytime anybody's putting their creativity and their passion together, it's not like competitive. It's like, hey, let me help you out. It seems like that's with this, and it's not like there's not money to be made. I can't remember what it was, but I saw or heard some of the stats on how much money people are spending on marijuana in Michigan. But like, it seems like there's a very like, hey man, if you're doing it the right way or you're trying to do it the right way, people who have better things to do will help you out a little bit. Is that kind of the case? Like, that there's a sense of like collaboration, like, hey, let's all work together, even though like I could make more money by you not being in business.
Yeah, no, totally. And that's the really cool thing about our community, Like, for instance, like JJ and I, we both grow cannabis, but we do it two different ways.
Right.
And, like, we work together, though, And, like, it's really cool. There's so many different aspects. And, like, the people who are really in this game because they love it, and it's pretty cool. It just presents a lot of opportunities with people and collaborating with other people. Like, I'm doing projects with people in California, and I've never shook their hand,
Right.
I mean, so, yeah, I'm super blessed to be a part of what the cannabis plant can do as far as, building relationships and doing different things while you're trying to do, you're all working together, like, and to find that group of people and to find that core group of people that all have the same, intentions and just like they're going the same place and can put their ego down and work with one another. It's a really special thing, especially when, you've met some of these people through, just social media, and you've built a relationship through that. And,
Right.
like eventually you exchange phone numbers and you have phone calls, but you've never really actually met this person. And that wouldn't ever go down without the plant,
Yeah.
So it's pretty sweet.
That's awesome. And I think that's probably a good place to end the show.
Cool.
Just kind of on a note that's like, if you got something that you're passionate about, whether it's cannabis, whether it's painting, whether it's writing, or like making short films that are funny and putting them on YouTube, like whatever it is, there's probably a community of people out there that would embrace somebody who's like, I just want to do this because I love it. Will somebody help me?
Yeah.
So, yeah, like, after you listen to this, go to thebeanlodge.com, or can people order from Fresh Coast Seed Co. too?
Nope, just the Bean Lodge,
Okay.
or Neptune Seed Bank, or
Okay, and I'll get those links up too. In
But
case
yeah,
anybody
any
didn't hear that.
questions, feel free to DM me on the Fresh Coast Seed Company Instagram.
Yeah, you got a lot of followers, but you seem like
Yeah.
you get back to people pretty quick.
Yeah, it takes me sometimes up to a week, but it's just my work comes first and foremost. So, but
Right,
I
right.
do see you, and I will get with you.
All right, cool. So yeah, thebeanlodge.com if you're interested and you want to get some seeds and see what they're all about, and you can go to their website too and see what those things can look like if you take good care of them.
Oh yeah.
All right, and thanks for listening, Ross. Thanks for being on, man.
Hey, thanks for
This is
having
awesome.
me, Chris. This was awesome, man.
All right, man. I love you.
Love you too.